Hello, everyone. Welcome to GRID Live Pre-Race. Joe Samaniego here. Kobe Landis from the Podium Finish. Adam Lemeries, our supercars expert, and joining us from Formula E Zone, Jack. Definitely very excited to have you on the program. It's been a while, and we encourage everyone to chat room to chat with us, and all our listeners on Ultimate Sports Radio Network. Welcome. We'll be starting with Formula E and the Monaco E-Prix, the premier race of the Formula E season at Monaco. Traditionally, Monaco, when a lot of people talk about the racetrack, they're not talking about passing. Formula E, the level of parity in the qualifying format, we saw passing just about every lap. First time Formula E ran the full-length Monaco Grand Prix circuit, and it did not disappoint. A lot of great passes, a lot of great racing. Jack, considering the past controversies, did the race deliver for Formula E overall?
Of course it did. Of course it did. It's exactly what we wanted. Was a race at Monaco where the form book was completely ripped up. You know, you can't pass at Monaco, and we've been saying for years, and I think the drivers have been saying for years as well. I remember back in season 5 when, the drivers wanted to be on the full Monaco circuit in season 5 because the cars could, do the 45-minute laps, but it was the team principals that were very, scared and just didn't really want Formula E to be on the full circuit, so therefore decided to keep it onto the shorter layout. But by God, did the full layout absolutely show us what an amazing race that you can have around the streets of Monaco.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Jack. For many years, people have said, yes, we love Monaco because of the history, but it's not a great track because you cannot pass. Formula E proved that with the right package, you can certainly turn Monaco into a great race, and that is exactly what we saw today. And oh my goodness, Antonio Felix da Costa, what a wild pass there on the final lap to take the race victory. That was so amazing. And I'm sure a lot of fans were up on their feet and screaming and yelling because that's exactly what Formula E is. Lots of unpredictability involved, great parity and great racing, and especially recently with a lot of controversy going on, I think that's exactly what Formula E needed to get back in everyone's good graces.
The Formula E race around the streets of Monte Carlo will go down as one of the greatest in history. We saw so much passing, and like you said, Kobe, the last lap pass with Antonio Felix da Costa, wow, everything that's happened with the series lately, this is what Formula E has needed. I believe now that people will know about Formula E series.
I felt 100% agree. The people, they talk about Monaco, they watch this race, they're going to get hooked on Formula E. This was just super jam-packed, full of excitement racing from lap 1 all the way to the last lap. Last lap pass, can't get any more exciting. And of course, we've been talking about Jaguar. We saw a big, bold move from Mitch Evans going up the hill, Beverly Ridge corner, making that pass. I've never seen anything like that before. That was just spectacular. Jack, when it comes to the big teams, especially Mercedes Jaguar, that's been the talk almost all season. DS Techeetah, now both of the drivers have a win. Envision Virgin Racing, they've been up there, and we see Robert Fringe leading the race, contending. Has the gap between the 4 teams closed up, or is again qualifying the biggest factor in none of these teams exercising their full potential?
Firstly, the Mitch Evans pass. You're saying wow about the Antonio Felix da Costa pass. The Mitch Evans pass. Oh, that was the best pass of the race. To go there was unbelievable. But yeah, to answer your question, I think qualifying is still playing a huge part. For me, Formula E is such a short season. It's still about consistency. And the main reason that Robin Frijns is leading this championship at this precise moment is consistency. So, and that's why he's up there. For me, I don't know what's going on with Mercedes. Last 2 races, I'm like, what's gone on here? Because they're so quick. But in Monaco, they weren't there. They weren't really that quick. Techeetah, I think they've got a solid all-round package. It's about hooking it up. I think it's down to the drivers, I think, hooking up. And Antonio Felix da Costa's got it hooked. Vern seems to have it hooked here and there. If they can get it hooked up, they're still there. Jaguar, again, I think their package, especially around Monaco for whatever reason, was really good. Around Diriyah, around Rome, you know what? They were there. They were there, but they weren't the quickest. I would say that today in Monaco, Jaguar for once were the quickest. Obviously, Valencia is completely different. They didn't perform well in Valencia in testing, so it wasn't really a surprise when they didn't perform well in Valencia during the race. So same as when we go to Mexico, which is also another purpose-built circuit, might be a slightly different to like the normal circuits that we go to, normal circuits that say like F1 goes to. Whether or not Jaguar will misperform there is that there's a big question mark on that. But I think it's about consistency. Qualifying will still play a huge factor, but we saw today that, you know, Frines and Evans made it through from Group 1 qualifying into Superpole, and the likes of Bird and Van Dorn didn't. So you qualifying is huge, because if you make a mistake like Nick de Vries did, turning it down from 250 to 200 and forcing him to start from the back, you're killing your chances. So I think qualifying is so critical in Formula E, and being consistent, getting the job done is better than doing a spectacular lap in Group 1 qualifying for the championship leaders.
And with Robin being up front, contending for the win compared to everybody else, Nick de Vries, the Jaguar, Sam Bird had a big effort to come from the back, but had he been up front, he could have easily been there contending for the win. And of course, Antonio Felix da Costa getting that win from the pole. A lot of times when we talk about a win from the pole in Monaco, we anticipate lead every lap or a parade procession. Not for this race. I mean, that tremendous last lap pass at Novell Corner, and then of course Mitch Evans' bold pass around Antonio Felix da Costa, and of course Robin even got around da Costa as well during the race, led a good portion of the race. When it comes to Formula E, is Formula E going to be an early contender for the best race of the year for Formula E?
You never know with Formula E. That's why we love it. You just never know. But so far, you have to say it has been probably the best race of the season so far. But, you know, even Valencia was crazy that last lap. It wasn't the greatest race, but that last lap made it one of the most iconic Formula E races in history. And Valencia Race 1 will probably go down as one of the most iconic races in Formula E history, maybe for the wrong reasons or right reasons, however you want to look at it, however you felt that race was for you. But Monaco, yeah, 100%. The first time on our full layout will be remembered for a very long time.
I completely agree with you, Jack. This race will go down as one of the greatest Formula E races in history. We saw so much action on the track today. I was on the edge of my seat, and it's really cool to see Antonio Felix da Costa get his first win of the year. I believe, hopefully, in the years to come, the Formula E Series will race on the complete circuit that Formula One does.
See, can I jump in there? I don't
Yes.
want it. I don't want it to race on circuits. I think for me, it was weird seeing Formula E cars race at Valencia. It didn't feel right. Formula E is all about street circuits. That's its heart. I don't want it to go to many circuits. I'd rather it predominantly be a street circuit place, because that's Formula E. That's what their selling point was. That was what their USP, whatever it is, unique selling point, whatever it had to be, whatever the acronym means for that. I can't think of it at this precise moment. And I feel like that's the heart, that's the beating heart of Formula E. And I really hope, I feel like maybe they can do better track layouts with some of the street circuits that they go to. But for sure, I think from what I've seen from Monaco, from what I've seen from Diriyah and Valencia wasn't the greatest racings that we saw, and it's just not meant for Formula E. So I really hope that Formula E do stick to street circuits in the future.
Great discussion. I know definitely we saw after the race, Sam Bird, Lucas de Grassi in the post-race talking about, hey, we're back in the street courses. This is what we could do. Definitely encourage everyone to chat room, share your opinions. Should we see more circuits hosted Formula E or Formula E focus on the street courses? Definitely love to hear everyone's opinions on that. For the second time in Formula E history, the points leader of the series has not won a race in the current season. Their lead, Robin Fringe, has the 2 career wins in 2018. However, he is leading the points because of that consistency. When it comes to our ratings, Mitch Evans is ahead by only 1 point over Nick DeVries and Robert Fringe. And of course, the big thing we see, everyone is really close because of the level of parity between all the teams. The big question coming into the next race and future races, now that Robin is the points leader, can he compete against Jaguar Mercedes and now Diaz Techeetah with a renewed Antonio Felix da Costa?
It'll be difficult. I don't think in Virgin Racing have the strongest package for me. So I think it will be difficult for Robin to sustain it. But like to be up there qualifying, being in that Super Pole, I think will be difficult, especially with him being in Group 1. But if he's consistent, if he can do a good job, if he can qualify like 11th, 12th, 10th, in the ballpark for getting points, then for me, as I said before, consistency is huge in Formula E. So by being consistent, then hopefully he might be able to, churn out some points and maintain this championship lead. Because Nick DeVries arguably was consistent, was quick, but was also consistent. That's why he had such a big lead. But he's now had 2 races where he hasn't scored points. Monaco in the last race in Valencia. And all of a sudden that's caused that swing. He had a nice big 17-point gap over Stoffel Van Dorn, and it's been cut, and now he's no longer the championship leader. So consistency is huge. And if Robin Frijns can do a good job in qualifying, stay consistent, he may have a chance.
You bring up some excellent points, Jack. Consistency is really key in Formula E and any championship around the world. And I do agree that that when you're looking at Robin Frijns' car, he certainly does not have the best package in comparison to the other competitors. And I think if he wants to truly contend for the championship, like you said, he needs to be up there contending in the points, getting those good finishes on the podium. If he cannot score a race win, I think it might be an uphill battle for him to try to hold on to that top spot. But it's certainly not out of the question. He can certainly be a contender throughout the rest of the 2021 Formula E season. Also, Jack, just wanted to say I'm really glad to have you back on the program. We really miss your enthusiasm here at Grid Network.
Yeah, I've missed talking to you too, Kobe.
Definitely very excited to have you back. And we encourage everyone to be sure to follow Formula E Zone, their website, everything. Jack, thank you so much for your time, especially recapping Formula E and the Monaco E-Prix.
No, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure as always, boys.
Thank you. And with that said, we're going to switch over to Formula One now and the Spanish Grand Prix, which is going to be tomorrow.
Yes, the Spanish Grand Prix Round 4 is happening tomorrow in Spain, and the battle between Sir Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen is front and center. On the front row, Sir Lewis Hamilton made the historic milestone today, winning pole number 100. Wow, 100 poles in Formula One, such a huge feat. And Max Verstappen, as I mentioned, lined up on the front row beside him. Then Valtteri Bottas, Lewis's teammate, in third. Sergio Perez, eighth. And this is the Spanish Grand Prix, notorious for very few passing opportunities. But they did make some changes to the layout, and we'll see how that goes. Does this put Red Bull at a disadvantage for the Spanish Grand Prix with Perez starting eighth?
It does put them in a disadvantage. The big thing we see time and time again, if you have the 2 Mercedes up front and Max Verstappen, one of the Mercedes is going to do the exact opposite strategy of whatever Max Verstappen does. We need that second Red Bull car up there, so that way Mercedes cannot do this. Really, when it comes down to what's going to happen in the race, Max Verstappen can have the best start lead. It could be Mercedes 2-3. As long as there's the 2 Mercedes second and third, Mercedes is going to use one of them to try to pit first or pit later. Max Verstappen, whatever they decide, the other Mercedes is going to probably do the opposite, and you're going to again have an uphill battle for Max afterwards. So this is definitely a big disadvantage for them with this race, which is usually pretty hard to overtake.
I agree with you, Joe. I believe Mercedes will be the team to beat tomorrow in the Spanish Grand Prix. Like we've talked about, Max Verstappen's teammate starts 8th. It's a very hard passing track. And And overall, I believe Sir Lewis Hamilton will be the driver to beat tomorrow. And I just want to say congratulations on him winning 100 poles. That's incredible what he's done in his Formula One career. We look back in history with all the successful drivers, Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost, Nigel Mansell, and Michael Schumacher. If there was a Mount Rushmore regarding Formula One drivers, you'd have to find a way to put Lewis Hamilton up there because he'll go down as one of the greatest Formula One drivers in history when he retires.
Yes, I think Lewis will certainly go down in history as one of the greatest Formula One drivers. And even while he's currently active, I think he is one of the greatest drivers right now. And not just Formula One, he should also be in the conversation and one of the all-time greats in motorsports, period, because it's been so amazing what Lewis has been able to accomplish. And another driver who's accomplished a lot in the last few weeks is Esteban Ocon. Him and the entire Alpine team in general, they're looking really good. Both drivers in the top 10, Alonso 10th, Ocon 5th, and this is the third time that Ocon has been ahead of Alonso. And heading into the season, there were a lot of rumors that potentially Ocon could get sacked for Pierre Gasly in 2022, and Alonso has a history of really putting the beat down on his teammates, out qualifying them, out racing them if there weren't any mechanical issues going on with his car. And with this being the third time Ocon ahead of Alonso, do you think he silenced his doubters entering the season?
I do believe so. Ocon right now is running really good. I believe as long as he qualifies in the top 10 and finishes in the points, that'd be very good for him. I don't think he has a shot to win a race this year, but you never know. Anything can happen in Formula One, so we shall see.
As he said, anything can happen in Formula One, and as Martin Barker will usually add, and it usually does. The big thing for Ocon is a long season. To be ahead of your teammate this early, that's a really great sign. He needs to keep it up. As you mentioned, qualifying, good, strong qualifying runs, that'll help him stay up front. That'll secure talks of him staying in Alpine, or maybe a bigger, better team. But definitely the big thing is if he could continue what he's doing throughout the season, I think he will really silence his doubter. I think there might be still some people saying, well, it's the start of the season. But right now, I am impressed with what Esteban Ocon is doing so far.
Yes, that is definitely impressive drop so far for Esteban Ocon so far this season. And 4 races in, it appears that Ferrari is back on a competitive level, but they're not at race winning level just yet. Both drivers have been scoring points, good runs for Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Both made Q3, but a team not in Q3 is Aston Martin Racing. Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll seem to be falling back. Are you surprised to see where the two teams are at this early in the season?
I am surprised, especially from testing. There was a lot of people wondering, okay, which teams are sandbagging, which teams are hiding. I really anticipated with Vettel's experience, you got Lance Stroll there, you pretty much have the same team. I really thought they were going to come out a lot stronger. Yes, they said the rule changes have greatly put them in a disadvantage. I don't see how Ferrari could suddenly come from only having one vehicle maybe make Q3 to now both vehicles scoring points on the Grand Prix race weekends. Really big significant change for so early in the season. It's going to be really interesting to see if Ferrari could keep climbing up that ladder and if Aston Martin could regroup and try to come back and score top 10 finishes.
I'm also surprised with regarding Ferrari and Aston Martin. They both have had successful histories in Formula One. Ferrari has really dominated in the sport, going back to when Michael Schumacher drove for him, and also Gerhard Berger back in the day. And Aston Martin has had a successful career in Formula One as well. So I'm hoping those two teams can find a way to climb back and at least try to finish in the points as the season continues.
Yes, and for me, I'm not really surprised by Ferrari's form. I figured that they'd be at least halfway back to their old form this season because I don't know what in the world went wrong with their car last year. I guess it was just one of the hey, it's 2020 moments that we hope we forget and we never have to hear of ever again. But I'm sure, you know, when you consider the history of Ferrari, it's really nice to see them running well again. And Aston Martin, I'm a little surprised that they aren't running as well as they were last season when they were racing point. I thought Aston Martin could contend with McLaren as the next best team behind Mercedes and Red Bull, and it's been a little surprising that have seemed to be a little off. I know Lance Stroll has been, so I guess you can say, the number one driver right now at Aston Martin over Sebastian Vettel, who's still having some of his struggles carry over from last season. Although Vettel did say to the media that he's starting to feel more at home in the Aston Martin, and as Vettel gets more races under his belt, maybe we'll see his form rise as well. And one potential surprise tomorrow, we could have some rain. 40% chance of rain is high around 11 a.m. and it's decreasing later on in the day. However, at Imola, we said rain was scheduled before the race. It rained and lingered on during the early portions of the race. Do you think rain will play an advantage for anyone in particular?
No, I don't. I believe the rain will be an equalizer for everybody tomorrow. I believe that the rain will make it a lot more challenging since the circuit at Catalonia is hard to pass at. So we shall see what happens if it does rain tomorrow for the Spanish Grand Prix.
When it comes to a particular driver in may favor, I'm not looking at the top two. Max Verstappen, we know he's really good in the rain. Lewis Hamilton, he is also good in the rain too. They both have very equal equipment. That start is going to be really important. When I am looking at further down, I'm looking at Fernando Alonso. I think he could have a lot of potential in a wet race, but he needs to have that good start. This track, yes, it's going to be hard to pass. It's not going to be as hard as what we saw at Imola in the wet. But the big thing, of course, what we saw at Imola, that rain stopped, the track changed, and it became who was going to be making a move out of the dry part when you're on slicks. If we see something like that again, that start is going to be really crucial. Whoever's ahead makes some more passes, but as that dries up, it's going to come down to the pit stops. And again, who's brave enough to get out onto the wet side to try to make that pass.
I'm not really sure if the rain would play an advantage for anyone in particular, but I'm sure any of the teams who don't really have a major chance of winning unless something crazy happens or unless Mercedes and Red Bull both break down, I think that they'd be happy for some rain, because when you throw rain into a equation on a wet track, especially if it's moderate to heavy rain, that can really change things up. You could see Lewis Hamilton back Max Verstappen, hydroplaning go off course. You could see other front runners as well, and if you're not competitive in dry conditions, and if you want to potentially try to steal a win away, this definitely could be your opportunity.
Big opportunity to steal a win. Formula One, that's going to be tomorrow morning. Spanish Grand Prix. It's going to be very exciting to see what happens, and will Lewis Hamilton make it another win, or can Max Verstappen even it up? Now the competition in the Supercar Series, they're trying to even up with Shane van Gisbergen, a surprise pole and race winner for the first race of the 3-race weekend. The Ben Motorsports Park is hosting rounds 9, 10, and 11 of the 2021 season. And Andre Hemgartner with Kelly Grove Racing claimed the pole and then went on to win his first Supercar Series race, leading 11 laps. Shane van Gisbergen, the points leader, started 8th. He only climbed up to 7th place. What was the bigger surprise for you, Adam? Was it Andre's pole and win, or Shane van Gisbergen's lack of pace?
I'm going to have to say Andre Heimgartner's pole and win. Andre has been competing in the series for a long time, and to see him win his first career win, which I was really happy to see. Andre Heimgartner came from the Porsche Carrera Cup, and he was successful there. So to see him win at the Ben Motorsports Park was really happy. And to give the fans some perspective, his owner Todd Kelly is a former Supercar Series driver and winner of the Bathurst 1000. So I was I was really happy to see Andre Heimgartner win, but I believe a bad pit stop cost Shane van Gisbergen at least a top 5 finish.
Yeah, and for me, it was a little surprising to see the Red Bull team not showing the form that we've seen so far this season. But I'll be honest, the biggest surprise to me was Andre Heimgartner winning this race, because I'll be honest, when we're doing our pick of winners, he's never even crossed my mind for for a pick of winner for me, because I just thought it would just be the main suspects, Jamie Whincup, Shane van Gisbergen, Chaz Monster, one of the Shell Power drivers, De Pasquale, Davison. Every now and then, those are the drivers I expect to win, not Andre Heimgartner. And when he took the checker flag, I'll be honest, I was a little stunned. I didn't expect to see anything like that, but I'm sure it's a wonderful moment for him. Your first career win is always something that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Big moment for Andre getting that first win, and for Kelly Grove Racing to get a win as well. When it comes to Shane van Gisbergen, he is still a full 152 points ahead of third place Chaz Monster. Monster, he's only 7 points behind Jamie Whincup. Considering what we saw this race weekend, do you see Monster overtaking Whincup in the points with the two remaining races?
I don't think so. I think today, when they have the next 2 races, I believe Jamie Whincup will find a way to climb back. Overall, he said that he didn't really have a good race. He started in the top 10, but really didn't make any advantages. So I believe Jamie Whincup will stay ahead of Chaz Mostert in the points.
I'm actually going to go the opposite of you, Adam. I think it's going to be really close between those two all weekend, but I think when it's all said and done, I think Chaz Mostert is going to be just slightly ahead of Jamie Whincup as we exit the racing weekend.
It's going to be very fun to see what's going to happen. Of course, race 2 and 3 is going to be early Sunday morning for the East Coast, later in the Pacific towards midnight. It's going to be very fun. Another thing that's going to be very fun as well, too, is the new cars for the Supercar Series coming out next year. We've been talking all week about the next-gen car in NASCAR, but of course the Supercars, they're going to have a new generation of car next year. The Mustang, that's going to go up against the Camaros. The Holders are going away. There'll be Camaros next year. Adam, for the teams that are not precisely on top of the scoring pylon week after week, is next year seen as a significant opportunity to close the gap to the top teams, especially 888 Racing?
Oh yeah. Everybody's going to go back to square one when it comes to this new next gen car, or it'll be called the Gen 3 car in the supercars. I've actually seen pictures of it, and from what I've seen regarding the Chevy Camaro and the Ford Mustang, I like it. I believe they're worldwide brands, especially American brands. So overall, I believe this will be really cool for the Supercar Series. Hopefully, they'll bring in a lot more American fans, because it's, like I said, it's 2 brands that we all know here in the United States. But hopefully we'll see one day an American driver compete in the Supercar Series. For me, that would be kind of cool.
That'd be really cool. I feel Supercars is getting to that level where it's seen as international series. The Bathurst 1000. I mean, we see IndyCar drivers participate in that race as co-drivers. I would love to see an American racing driver go out there, and we encourage everyone to chat with. If you were going to pick an American driver to go in Supercars, which one would you take and have them race in the Supercar Series? And of course, the United States, the primary series right here, it's definitely NASCAR.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely NASCAR. Before we head on to NASCAR, I want to respond to what you were just saying right quick, Joe, about Supercars becoming an international series. And I know majority of great drivers are from Australia, New Zealand, all those places down under. But I remember recent years we had Simona Di Silvestro competing in the series from Switzerland. Yeah, but for the most part, we only see the Aussie drivers competing in the Supercar Series. But it would be really awesome if we started to see more international flavor in the series, just like over here in NASCAR. We'd love to see more international drivers over here as well. It'd be nice if we had an American driver in the Supercars, drivers from Europe, Asia, and all of that. I think that would really be great for both Supercars and NASCAR as well. And speaking of NASCAR, the Cup Series heading to South Carolina for Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway for the Goodyear 400. It's the first time Darlington is hosting 2 races in one season as initially scheduled since 2004. But as y'all remember last year, Darlington hosted 3 races and filled in spots on the schedule due to the global pandemic. And this is the first time we're at Darlington for Mother's Day weekend since 2014. Now I'm really sensing colossal excitement for this weekend at Darlington, especially with 750 horsepower and low downforce this year. Is Darlington twice a year on Mother's Day and Labor Day the perfect combination?
I say yes, it's the perfect combination. When it comes to the track hosting 2 events a year, it used to do it for a while, but we saw it tend to start to essentially thin out that track and then lost one date. When they brought it back to Labor Day, fans are over the hook, excited for Labor Day at Darlington. And that will continue because it is one of the best traditions in motorsports. One of the few motorsport traditions in Labor Day, especially. We talk about Memorial Day, it's a big one. Labor Day, IndyCar doesn't have a big presence when it comes to a Labor Day race, but NASCAR does. It's really going to be, I think, hold its ground. And then to have Mother's Day as the other event at Darlington, that just makes it where, again, Mother's Day is not a big official holiday, but a lot of people, celebrate Mother's Day. It's a big deal. We're going to Darlington. That just adds it in where I feel this is just a perfect combination to share Darlington, a very historic track in NASCAR, continues to hold 2 dates.
When it comes to being a NASCAR fan, I absolutely love it. I can remember where Darlington hosted 2 races, both on Mother's Day and Labor Day. And, overall, this is what NASCAR fans have wanted for a long time. See, like you said, Joe, Darlington Raceway is the track known as Too Tough to Tame and the Lady in Black. The series has gone there for a very long time. Overall, I love it. And I hope it continues for many, many years to come down the road.
Yes, definitely, Adam. Totally agree with you. We all love Throwback Weekend. I remember when NASCAR announced last year that they were moving Throwback Weekend to Mother's Day weekend. A lot of people were upset about this decision because we know the history of the Southern 500. Everyone thought that the Southern 500 should be the Throwback Weekend as well, considering the history of that race, since it was NASCAR's first. It was the first, like, quote unquote super speedway back in the day when that type of track was considered a super speedway. So a lot of people felt disconnected from the fact that they made the Throwback Weekend its own race. But it seemed, but just having Throwback Weekend in general, I think that's wonderful. And when they go to the Southern 500 in the fall, they can just focus on the playoffs only. And as I mentioned, there's an extra sense of excitement this weekend. High horsepower, lower downforce. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick have both won here in the past. No wins yet in 2021. We have throwback paint schemes that gets everyone excited, from Chase Elliott and Corey LaJoy, honoring the great Alan Kulwicki, to Bubba Wallace and Wendell Scott colors. There's certainly a lot to smile about on Mother's Day weekend. What will you be looking for at Darlington?
For me, it'll be the throwback paint schemes. To let the fans know that are watching, I've been watching NASCAR for a very, very long time, since I was a baby. I grew up watching people like Alan Kulwicki, Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip, Mark Martin, Davey Allison, and Bill Elliott. And the list goes on and the list goes on. To see some of these paint schemes back this weekend makes me really, really proud to be a NASCAR fan. I can remember when the games were being run by the original drivers. Overall, I'm looking forward to watching the Goodyear 400 tomorrow at the historic Darlington Raceway, known as the Lady in Black and Too Tough to Tame.
When it comes to Darlington, definitely the track Too Tough to Tame. Some of the big things I'm going to be looking at is where all the drivers are when it comes to that first stage and where they finish. Tire management is going to be really huge there. That's going to be very tricky for everyone to take care of your tires and try to go up towards the front. One driver that I think is going to have an early advantage, Tyler Reddick. Second time coming up here in the Cup Series. Well, actually the fourth time because we had 3 races last year, his rookie year. He's going to have that additional experience of running the Cup Series race at Darlington. He loves that high line. He's comfortable up there. Big thing is just do not get the Darlington stripe. Some of the other things I'm going to be looking at as well, where's Kevin Harvick? Where's Denny Hamlin? 2 of them, they're going to be up towards the front. If they're moving towards the front, I see them potentially winning the race. But it's going to be, I think, at the total end, 3 to 4 drivers I'm going to be looking at for the win. However, like what we saw in the truck race, which we'll talk about a little later on, you get one big one and totally changes who's going to be contending for that race win.
Sorry about that. Yeah, but what I'm gonna be looking for this weekend at Darlington is everything the high horsepower, low downforce, and comparative racing that we've seen in recent years with the 550 horsepower high downforce package. People really felt like that hurt the racing product at Darlington, and we'll see with the return to the higher horsepower, lower downforce, what type of race are we gonna see, especially since it's gonna be in the heat of the day, and we all know racing at Darlington, this tough, abrasive surface. In the day, low downforce, high horsepower, that's typically the ingredients for excellent racing, and we'll have to wait and see what's in store for us tomorrow for the Goodyear 500. And you're going to hear this all day tomorrow. Race the racetrack. Take care of your tires. As I mentioned, this tough abrasive track is really hard on tires. And the infamous Darlington stripe, this is something that you'll want to avoid, especially with this steel body Cup car in the Xfinity. And we talked about this on Grid tonight, comparing the steel body and the composite body within the Xfinity series. They have those 5-star composite bodies where you can get up into the wall. It's not going to hurt the performance of the car, so you can really put the car on the edge. But with the steel body cars, you get up in the wall, and oh boy, it might ruin your entire day. And so it's definitely you want to avoid the Darlington stripe in the Cup car. And here's my question for you guys. How many different drivers do you think will have a chance to win this race in a season with so much parity?
Well, let's go ahead, Joe.
Well, definitely I was going to say, I think when it comes to the race itself, if you're in the top 10, you got a pretty good shot at it. At the end, I think we're going to be looking at potentially 4 to 5 different drivers that are going to have a shot at winning the race. The big thing, of course, is if we have a big crash, that's going to mess up everything. I definitely just want to apologize to everyone. Just be sure to mute your cell phones, especially if you're live on the air.
And for me, I'm going to say 5 different. You have at least 5 different drivers to win tomorrow. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and potentially Eric Jones. Overall, I think this race will be really good tomorrow, especially for all the fans in the stands who grew up watching NASCAR for a very long time, to see all those throwback paint schemes on the track. And it'll be really cool for fans, to remember for many memories to come down the road.
And this week we had the reveal of the 2022 NASCAR Next Gen Cup car. Adam and I discussed this on Grid tonight, a few hours after the reveal. And so, Joe, we want to give you a chance to respond to our report. So, Joe, when it comes to the Next Gen car, what impacts will it have on and off the racetrack?
On the racetrack, I think we're going to see a lot of much better quality racing. We're going to have it where the dirty air is not going to be too much of an issue because we now have that big diffuser, ground effects. That's going to really add on to the handling. When it comes to the composite body, that means technically you could get that Darlington stripe, keep going. It won't be as bad compared to the current car where if you get that Darlington stripe, you could cut a tire down, your day is done. When it comes to off the track, yes, we know the initial cost is going to be high. the long road, especially only 7 cars max, is going to be much cheaper for the team owners. And essentially, I see this going to be a big influence in somebody who want to get into motorsports or professional level sports. NASCAR could be a very viable option. This just makes it where the gap between the biggest teams, the small teams, is going to be a lot shorter. Yes, they'll still find ways to be ahead, but that initial investment into starting up a NASCAR team, especially for we saw people like Michael Jordan, he's got into NASCAR. Pitbull, will we see other celebrities, other athletes from other sports, or just people from different backgrounds that want to get into NASCAR and bring a new audience to follow NASCAR? This has a lot of potential on and off the track. It could really change the game of not just NASCAR, but I think of professional sports in the United States when it comes to if you want to be in the professional level sporting series, NASCAR could be a viable option.
Yeah, certainly NASCAR could be a viable option. And this week, looking at the reveal of the next gen car and all of the details that come out about the car, the future is definitely looking bright. And this weekend, Darlington, throwback weekend, honoring the past. So we're looking ahead to the future with one hand back in the past, honoring all of the great ones that come before. And we also want to take a special moment to remember Bobby Unser. Sadly, we got the news that Bobby passed away earlier in the week, a 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. And on behalf of everyone at GRID Network, we send our condolences to the Unser family during this difficult time.
Well, it's very sad to hear the sad news. 3-time Indy 500. And of course, for a lot of fans, growing up watching him doing color commentary on ABC or IndyCar kart, Indy 500 races, something where very hard to hear that sad news. With that said, one of the things, of course, when we talk about Indy 500 winners, it's time for us to do pick a winner. And we're going to be starting off with Formula One, the Spanish Grand Prix. Adam, who do you have winning this race?
Well, when it comes to my Formula One pick, I'm going to have to go with the pole sitter, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, and for me as well, Lewis Hamilton, he won his 100 pole today, and tomorrow he's gonna add another victory to all of his historic race wins.
Considering Adam is perfect when it comes to pick a winner in Formula One, I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton as well. Supercars, we have 2 races remaining. I know definitely when it comes to the 2 race winners, I'm looking at race 1, Chaz Monster. I think he has the momentum, and then race 2. I think that's when Shane van Gisbergen is going to respond back and get a win this weekend.
Yeah, the first race of today or race 2 of the weekend, like Joe, I'm going with Chaz Mostert. And then final race of the weekend, going with Jamie Whincup. I think the pack has finally caught up to Shane van Gisbergen.
When it comes to my for race 2, I'm going to have to agree with all of you. I'm going to go Chaz Mostert. And for race 3, I'm going to say Shane van Gisbergen as well. Should be interesting at the Bend Motorsports Park.
And then finally, NASCAR Cup Series, Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Adam, who do you see winning the Goodyear 400?
When it comes to my pick for the Goodyear 400, I'm going to have to go with Kyle Larson. I believe he is a strong contender. And overall, the paint scheme he's running this weekend is just awesome. So Kyle Larson is my pick.
Earlier in the week, we got the sad news that William Byron's mother has a brain tumor, and I think since it's Mother Day weekend, William Byron is going to be emotional, fired up, motivated. And I think there would be nothing special than winning on Mother's Day weekend at the Lady in Black at Darlington Raceway just for William Byron's mother. I think that would be a really sentimental victory.
A sentimental victory and a huge story for everyone in the racing world. Definitely a feel-good story. When it comes to the Goodyear 400 on Mother's Day weekend, I'm looking at Denny Hamlin. That 11 car knows how to get to victory lane at Darlington. He hasn't gotten to the victory lane yet this year, but I think Sunday he'll get it done. And of course, we encourage everyone to be sure to follow the grid ranking. Week 5 is currently underway. Here's the top 10 of that, and as well as the Grid World Motorsport League. You can follow them at grid_WML. A lot of action going on this weekend, so definitely a lot. But first, we definitely want to recap the trucks and Xfinity race that already occurred so far.
Yeah, the truck and Xfinity races at Darlington are in the books. Starting with last night's race in the truck series, it was a crazy caution. It was a really crazy caution-filled race. 12 cautions total in the 147-lap race. Out of those 147 laps, 66 laps of those were run under caution. However, everyone is talking about the huge multi-car wreck on the restart. A total of 17 trucks were involved. It was the big one at Darlington, similar to the big wrecks we see at Daytona and Talladega. They call Darlington, as I mentioned, the Lady in Black, or the track that's too tough to tame. Adam said it. Sheldon Creed avoided all the carnage and won the race fittingly under caution as Haley Deegan crashed on the final lap. Based on all the cautions we saw last night, 12 of them, and the big multi-car wreck, 17 trucks involved, was Darlington too tough to tame last night for the Truck Series drivers?
Oh yeah, it was typical Darlington. That truck wreck with 17. That's pretty spectacular. We normally don't see that at a place like Darlington. So, Darlington led up to its nicknames, Lady in Black and Too Tough to Tame.
It was definitely too tough to tame for the Truck Series. The big thing, especially, this is only the 8th time the Truck Series have raced at Darlington. So not a whole lot of notes and experience, and especially with the stage racing package that we had. That restart, I think if there was at essentially a track with a tri-oval, we would have seen more room to get around. Of course, some of the vehicles would have slid into the grass. Darlington, you just got that front stretch, all concrete. It just blocked up really quickly as everyone tried to maneuver around. It was just something for Darlington, very unusual to see, but definitely seeing at post-race how many trucks with damage, beat up, that was typical Darlington.
Yeah, certainly typical Darlington, but I want to think typical Daytona and Talladega based on looking at those red trucks. I did not expect to see so many trucks beat up and damaged, and some of them hooked up to the tow truck. It was a really crazy race, and it was certainly too tough to tame for the drivers last night. And I mentioned Sheldon Creed won the race, and speaking of Creed, he got in a little Twitter drama with Camping World CEO Marcus Lemonis. It all started when a fan tweeted that there is absolutely no reason that the defending Truck Series champion should be sponsorless. He urged Lemonis to do something about it, like sponsor Sheldon Creed. Of course, Marcus Lemonis, as we all know, he's been sponsoring multiple drivers throughout the season who are struggling for funding. And Lemonis responded to the fans' tweets saying that he offered to help Creed and GMS Racing. Creed responded with a really blunt response, saying, I quote, "We are worth more than 15K." And Lemonis called Creed's comment unprofessional, and people wonder why they are unsponsored. And here's my question for you. Since Sheldon is the defending series champion, does he have a point about knowing his worth? Or should he just accept any deal you can get during this time period? We all know sponsorship is hard to come by.
Sponsorship is hard to come by, and definitely when it comes to Truck Series, there are costs. It's not as high as the Cup level, but it's definitely up there. And of course, the sponsorships, if they're looking at trucks for a little extra, you're looking at Xfinity, more Cup Series. It's a really hard spot. When it comes to this situation, I feel okay. Sheldon being the Truck Series defending champion and the team, they want more than just 15,000. What Marcus is doing to help the other teams, especially when he had like about 6 trucks with Camping World out there, that's really great for the sport. That's really good to show that the title sponsor cares about the health of the teams. He's offering that help to essentially Sheldon Creed. Sheldon saying, no, if you want to have your logo on our truck, it's going to cost you more. That's the same as if any team in the Cup level, hey, there's a sponsor they want to be on your hood. This is our price point. You don't want to fork that much more, then you're not going to be on the hood.
I agree with you, Joe. Since Sheldon Creed is the defending Truck Series champion, I believe he should have at least a major sponsor on his truck. Say, hey, I am the defending series champion, and I should have some sort of sponsor on my truck for each race. Overall, I like Sheldon Creed. I have a lot of respect for him, and hopefully he gets some sponsorship on his truck. Hopefully for the rest of the season, as the hopefully for the rest of the season.
And first and foremost, I think people are entitled to do as they please, but I really feel like that this is something that Sheldon Creed maybe should have thought before he tweeted instead of airing that on social media. But hey, he decided to put it out there, and now people are talking about it, and this is probably an unpopular opinion that I have on this situation, but I think Sheldon Creed is right in this case because he's the defending champion. GMS is a championship winning organization. They're always competing for race wins, and I think the team and Sheldon, they know their worth. They know they're worth a lot more than $15,000, and if that deal is not going to necessarily help them a ton, then I don't blame them for turning it down. If you truly believe that you are worth, like say $30,000, $40,000, or even higher, then those are the type of deals that you should be going after, because $15,000 might not do much for that organization. Yeah, it is better than nothing, but I do think at the end of the day, you have to know your worth, and everyone knows when it comes to business, sometimes business goes well, sometimes it doesn't. This is just a case of business transactions not going the way you expected, and sometimes the business side can get really ugly, as you can see here with the exchange between Sheldon Creed and Marcus Lemonis. And then the Xfinity race, which finished up right before we come on the air, was a really good day for Junior Motorsports. All 4 JRM Chevys finishing the top 7, 1-2, with Justin Allgaier winning his second Xfinity race of the season over Josh Berry today at Darlington. And Noah Gragson is a really happy camper, winning his 3rd consecutive Dash for Cash Grand Prize. And the defending series champion Austin Cindric had a race to forget. It started off well, winning stage 1, 9th in stage 2, started mid-pack on the final restart, ended up getting wrecked on the final lap, real hard hit into the outside wall and come to a stop on the front stretch, and ended up finishing a disappointing 30th. So the Xfinity Series will be back on track next weekend at Dover. Junior Motorsports will look to keep up the momentum, and Austin Cindric will try to bounce back from a bad race.
A bad race can change everything. One of the big things, we do got a question from the chat room from Last Name. Who do you think has the best odds in Formula One? Kobe, when it comes to Formula One, who do you feel has the best odds?
Without a doubt, Lewis Hamilton still, but I think Max Verstappen is right on his hill. I do expect for the rest of the season we're going to have back and forth between Mercedes and Red Bull, and it's going to be interesting at the end of the season to see who's going to prevail.
I'll agree with you, Kobe. I believe it'll be between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, Mercedes versus Red Bull throughout the rest of the Formula One season.
And I have to make you unanimous. It's going to be between those two, but I definitely feel Lewis Hamilton definitely has the best odds, especially with the win this race weekend and, of course, the championship. And we encourage everyone to join our Patreon. Link in the video description. Join Colin and keeping us on the air. We're going to be on the air throughout all of 2021. And definitely your investment will ensure we stay on the air. We can continue upgrading equipment, getting more people involved with the Grid Network, and expand our coverage. And of course, a good way to as well support the Grid Network is support Publis. 10% of your purchase goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescued dog. As some of our loyal Grid Network followers know, we have Kiska, a rescued dog, in the Grid Network office. This is a cause we really care about. So anytime you buy dog leash, furniture, clothing, or your furry buddy, 10% goes to helping a dog in need across the world. For Kobe Lameth at the podium finish, Adam Lemery's our supercar expert. I'm Joe Samniego. Thank you for watching today. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the races. Joe Samniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Publis. Publis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Publis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.